Hello once again, Shaker Heights varsity baseball fans, and welcome into this new Mentor Cardinal turf field known by this Mentor squad as the Yard. Now, entering into today, the Mentor Cardinals are 7-0. Shaker, however, 3-6, following their loss to North Royalton, and that was a rough look for the Red Raiders. They had a player meeting to discuss things about that rough loss. 28-6 was your final in that game, but it was a winnable game. So everyone was a little bit surprised at that final. And now here they are against another tough school in the Cardinals. As mentioned, they're undefeated, 7-0. They faced off in the GCC. Currently, they're 4-0. They swept the Euclid Panthers and they swept the Heights Tigers. Shaker facing Heights later next week. I'm not sure if that's home or away, but we'll discuss that more as the game goes on. Shaker swept Euclid by about those same kinds of deficits, about in that 20-run range, but I guess they just were not expecting the difficult opponent of North Royalton in those Bears. There were state runner-ups in 2014. That was just 10 years ago, and I guess there's still that tough competition, but as mentioned, a winnable game. It was a windy game as well. The baseball was just falling every which way right beside the defensive players. We had a rough start in the pitching as well. Starting us off was Tyler Zach. Then we had Casey Robinson. Sam Luther, who actually left with a hand injury. And it was just a rough game all around. But yeah, they had the player meeting just yesterday. It was players only. Those who could not attend were filled in their text message group. And it's really going to be interesting to see how they bounce back. Coaches were not satisfied. Players were not satisfied. Really, the fans were not satisfied that visited that game. And so it's all up to Shaker to see it's all up to Shaker to see how they're going to bounce back. Now today they're debuting the new black jerseys. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. We have the national anthem for you here right behind me. And after the anthem of the nation, we are set for some high school baseball action. Once again, the Red Raiders actually not wearing red here today. They're going with the black road jerseys, the gray pants, both of which are new. Underneath are those red t-shirt jerseys, but those are not going to be the top here today. We're going to have Brett Moore leading us off for the start of the first inning. Behind him, Quentin Garnett. Behind him, Will Tagan. Those are the three guys due up to start us off for Red Raiders offense, and they got to get cooking early. Even though they did get cooking early in that North Royalton game, they actually got one run to come across, and then a two-run shot by Will Berglund in the left field. They need to have that same kind of success here today, unless their defense is going to really shut out the Cardinals. They just need the offense to work, and that offense has been looking a little bit shaky. They've struck out on about 31% of plate appearances. They're batting about .219, so this is where they are going to need to step up now that they are entering into the Greater Cleveland Conference matchups. I know they did face off against Euclid. They're 2-0 in the GCC, but this is where it'll really be difficult, and they're really going to separate themselves from the other schools like Medina, Brunswick, and of course this Menor squad. Brett Moore stepping into the batter's box now. I will step away, but I'll still be here for the call. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum here from Menor, Ohio. Brett Moore steps into the right-handed batter's box. Number 1 on the back of that new black jersey. Menor in those all-white uniforms. First pitch to Brett Moore. This one's lined over to left, and a good grab as the shortstop collapses over to his right. One pitch, one out, and that's going to bring up the catcher in today's game, Quentin Garnett. Once again, behind him is Will Tagan in the 3 spot. Behind him is going to be the first baseman, Will Berglund. After this AB, we'll tell you more about this batting order. So a quick out for this pitcher on the mound. The first offering to Quentin Garnett will catch the inside half of the strike zone for strike number 1. The pitcher today is Square. Square number 3 on the back of his jersey. This one's cut on and missed by Quentin Garnett. Square so far, 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and an 0-2 count to Quentin Garnett. Will Tagan timing up these pitches in the on-deck circle as we speak. Taking some big swings back there, a long wait, and now the pitch. Tried to get him chasing down low and away. Quentin Garnett says no, thank you. Garnett taps on home plate. He's back in a 1-2 count. In a good battle so far with Square. The next pitch. Ooh, just outside. Good pitch location. Almost got him, but Quentin Garnett didn't pull the trigger. So we're going to do it again in a 2-strike count. This time we're even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. This one cut on and missed, drop 3rd strike, or at least he thought it at first, but now I was up in the air. So there's strike 3. And so 2 up, 2 down to start us off. Nick Square off to a solid start on the hill. But now it's Will Tagan, and this is where it's going to get a little bit harder for him. Will Tagan stands in as a righty once again. Righty-righty matchup. That'll be right down the middle. Strike 1. Berglund, the man with the home run in last game. He's in the on-deck circle. Granted, actually, now that we're speaking about it, Will Tagan also had a 3-run shot in that North Royalton game as well. It was a bit too late, considering it was already a 25-run deficit at that point. But he did close it down to a 22-run deficit, making just a little bit of difference. 2 strikes to Tagan. 2 outs as we're getting set in the top of the 1st. The pitch, this one fouled back and over behind home plate where the former baseball field used to be. That they're now getting renovations done on that field. That's going to be the new JV field for the Menor Cardinals. So that's what's behind home plate. We also have a lot of facilities in this area. Over to our right, we have soccer practice fields and also just any sport practice fields. That one fouled over to the left side. And over to the left of that 3rd baseline, you get the soccer pitch and also lacrosse field. And, of course, the high school itself is over there somewhere. Outside the home run fence, you're going to get the Jerome T. Osborne Senior Stadium. Shaker football played there earlier in their season. There's strike 3 called, so 3 up, 2 strike out. And yeah, 3 up, 3 down. That's going to bring out Casey Robinson to the mound. The sophomore pitched a little bit in that game against North Royalton, not too much. You can assume it's because they wanted to preserve him for this start here today. Number 5 on the hill. When we come back, we'll tell you about him when we come back. My name is Vaughn Ullum here with the call from Menor, Ohio. And so Casey Robinson to the mound. He's the sophomore. He's pitching just under a 4 ERA, which is one of the better of the team. He's actually pitched the most on the team as well at 11 innings pitched. Right behind him is Tyler Zack at 10. This one's fouled up and over back near those practice fields. You go even more far back, you'll get some neighborhoods. So one pitch, one strike from Casey Robinson. And that next one just off the plate, ball one. Casey Robinson has issued 8 walks and 10 strikeouts over the 11 innings pitched. And again, yeah, 3.818 ERA to be exact. This one's lined, but O'Shea Howard makes the leaping grab over at second base, and he's been great in that position, making some big plays out there as number 2, and there's another. O'Shea Howard gets the out, and so 1 up, 1 down for Casey Robinson on the hill. Robinson with 3 pitches, 2 so far hitting the strike zone. Nick Square on the other side had 11 pitches and 9 hitting the strike zone for the Cardinals. Here's the kick-in offering from the lefty, and that will catch the strike zone. Good pitch to start him off. The batter is now that Menor pitcher, Square. And Nick Square, the right-hander, is in the right-handed hitter's box. This one just off the plate. One and one, the count to Square. 6th pitch from Casey Robinson off the plate once more. 2 balls, 1 strike to Square. 1 out here in the bottom of the 1st inning, nobody on. Casey Robinson in that last game. That one just fouled back. In that last game against North Royalton, he pitched 1 inning, giving up 3 hits and 2 walks, 4 runs. All of them earned coming across under his watch. Again, no one exactly had a great day against North Royalton. 28-6 was your final on the road. Actually, just about the opposite direction of where we are now in relation to Shaker. Here we are northeast, North Royalton down southwest. So after that foul, 2 strikes, 2 balls. That one off the plate, and we work ourselves to a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out to Nick Square, the batter, the pitcher for this Menor Cardinal squad. The kick in, the pitch from the lefty. This one's sent over to shortstop. Brett Moore handles. The throw is not in time. He is safe, just beating it out as Nick Square. Good hustle right out of the box. And so they've got a man at first with 1 out. And here comes the shortstop, number 13 for the Cardinals.
The shortstop, Peyton Zupanzik.
Peyton Zupanzik, the batter. So 2 batters down, 1 man was out, 1 man is on. Here's the pitch. That'll catch the strike zone for sure, and the umpire agrees. Strike 1 to Zupanzik. Number 13, the shortstop here today. The next pitch, ooh, just miss. Good pitch location from Casey Robinson. He's been really the most consistent pitcher for this team so far. Of course, it is a relatively new season. This is the 10th game of their season. This one lined in the left. That'll get down. Nemo Crosby struggles with it at first. Now he'll get it in. The runner, Square, rounding second. However, he'll hold off. And so now 2 men on with 1 out. And an RBI opportunity for their big man, number 25, Jake McCartney.
First baseman, Jake McCartney.
Jake McCartney, a commit to Youngstown already. And yeah, he's just a big guy for a first baseman. He's got the lone home run for this squad. And the first pitch to him, ooh, he didn't like it. Thought it was a bit too upstairs. It was not. It just dropped down at the very end. 1 strike to number 25, McCartney. Here's the pitch. This one cut on and missed, foul tipped right into the glove. And so this is a good bounce back start for Casey Robinson. 0-2 the count. To McCartney. Square on second, Zupancic on first. Those are the two runners. This one's sent over down the third baseline. Foul near that bullpen. Menor, of course, the home side there on the left dugout here today. Shaker in the black uniforms in the right dugout. Casey Robinson, the next kick and pitch, and he got him. He got him swinging down low and away. There's out number 2 of the bottom of the first. So 2 men on, and now it's a much more tense situation for the next man up, Sandrowski, number 20. Once again, a right-handed hitter. Shaker tends to have a lot of diversity when it comes to the left-handed hitters. I mean, we see Cole Klein, we see Andrew Fogarty. Actually, the man on the mound, Casey Robinson, when he's up to the plate, you'll see him a left-handed hitter as well. And here's the next pitch from him. Down low, Quinn Garnett keeps it in front of him. Ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Casey Robinson already on his 20th pitch. Here in the bottom of the first. You don't want to go to your relief too early. This one's sent over to Sam Luther. He'll play it on the hop. He'll have the force over at third, and there's out number 3. So 2 men left on in the form of Square and Zupancic. However, Casey Robinson gets the job done on 20 pitches, 14 of which hitting the strike zone, and we are going to step back for a break as we get set for the second inning. Thank you very much for joining us here from Menor, Ohio. My name is Vaughn Ullum, here with the call. And welcome to the plate, Will Berglund, number 19. Another right-handed hitter for the Red Raiders. He's had so far 2 home runs for the Red Raiders, 1 solo shot in San Diego in that whole 4-game tournament out on the West Coast. And then against that North Royalton team, he did get the 2-run blast in the first inning. So after a scoreless first, here we go. Will Berglund takes one down low and away. Ball 1. C.J. Landrum and Sam Luther due up as well. So 2 seniors and a junior. Nick Square with his 14th on its way. Berglund held off and just off the plate. Great pitch that time around. The Shaker Heights dugout keeping vocal. They like to do that a lot. They like to, number 1, support the Shaker Heights squad, but also maybe get in the mind a little bit of that pitcher on the mound. In San Diego, in one of those tournament games, we actually had the umpire stop to tell both dugouts to just stop yelling at each other. This one's popped up on the infield. Calling for it is the first baseman, McCartney. He'll make the routine grab. There's out number 1.
Now batting, the designated hitter.
Designated hitter now up in the form of C.J. Landrum, 2 O-linemen back-to-back. Excuse me. In this lineup, after Will Berglund and now Landrum. Landrum, if you ever see him out in the field, he'll be a first baseman. Typically, that's where you'll see him in the field practice before the games. First pitch to him, just barely misses. Ball 1 to C.J. Landrum. Shakers so far yet to get their first hit through 4 guys. Menor in their first inning at the plate, they had 2. Next kick and pitch. This one fouled back into the netting. There's strike 1. We're evened up at 1-1 with 1 out. The interesting thing about this Menor Cardinals defense is through their last 5 games, haven't committed a single defensive error. And these include the 2 games against Euclid, 2 games against Heights as well. So in the GCC, they're yet to have an error. That one called down low, a strike. But in their 2 games before that as well, at the very end of March and the very beginning of April, those 2 games to begin the season, they only had 3 errors. So they're really not that mistaken in the field. That just barely missing. 3 balls, 2 strikes. We're now to a full count with 1 away to C.J. Landrum. Next square. The kick and the offering. This one sent down the third baseline, foul. Played off of 2 hops, however. He's going to have to eat this one up. C.J. Landrum steps back into the right-handed hitter's box. Square already looking for his 3rd strikeout. It's Landrum's job not to let that happen. The next kick and offering. This one sent up over to the right side. This is playable for the first baseman calling off. Everyone would have just barely dropped in fair, but he'll make the grab. There's out number 2. So 5 up, 5 down for Nick Square. Sam Luther trying to get a 2-out rally going, taking some big swings outside of the right-handed batter's box. Now the next 3 guys up in the batting order are yet to get a hit. They're each batting 0-0-0. And that's going to be Sam Luther, Nemo Crosby, and then right behind him is Andrew Fogarty. They're called ball to Sam Luther. Nick Square with his 24th pitch making its way to Luther now, and he'll hold off, but it's strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs here at the Yard, nicknamed by this Menor Cardinals team. Of course, this turf, a very, very new one, debuted just weeks ago for that first game against Riverside, in which they won. This one fouled back up and into the netting. Nemo Crosby going to pick it up out of the on-deck circle. We'll see if he gets the chance to bat. Now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Sam Luther. The 25 pitches down for Square. The 26th will be making its way. Sam Luther stands in, bat over his shoulder. Here's the pitch, down low, kept in front of him by Wieland. We'll do it again at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Or excuse me, never mind. We're now going to do it at 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one was low, so now we're evened up. A lot of 2s up on the scoreboard. This one down low. We'll work our way to a full count. This is what we saw a lot in San Diego as well. Sam Luther, whether or not he makes the hit, he will work these at-bats, and that's what you want to see. Here's the payoff. And he calls him out on a pitch upstairs, just barely caught it. Painting the corners was Nick Square, and so there is out number 3. So here comes Casey Robinson back out to the hill. Once again, 20 pitches down, 14 hitting the strike zone. We'll see how he does once again on the hill. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum. We'll see if Menor can finally get one in to score this time after they left 2 guys on in the last inning. We'll be right back. First pitch from Casey Robinson is upstairs, but called strike one. Good pitch location from Robinson to start off the count. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum. We're just getting set for the bottom of the second. This one fouled back up and into the netting. Hitting a metal wire, keeping up the netting. You could hear that cling from above. So to start us off, we got an 0-2 count to Pierce. The next pitch. This one's sent down the third base line and eventually over to the dugout foul. So we'll do it again. No balls, 2 strikes to Pierce. Pierce 0 for 0. This is first time up. This time just upstairs. My goodness, that's what we just about saw called for Sam Luther. However, that time ruled differently. This one foul tipped back into the glove of Quentin Garnett. There's strike 3 and strikeout number 2 for Casey Robinson. So that's going to bring up the third baseman, Bortnick. First pitch, foul over to the right side near that urgent care. That's right over there. And I was talking to Tyler Zach about this before the game. It's really convenient to have an urgent care right where all your high school's athletic facilities are. Because if one player gets hurt, whether it's during a practice, because you also have the practice fields out here, you have that urgent care right next to the football field, the baseball field, the lacrosse field. It's right there for you. And that's just really convenient. This time it's fouled over where that first pitch landed as well, near that urgent care. There's strike 2. We've got 1 out. Bortnick currently batting. The next man up is going to be Nelson, the second baseman. The next kick and offering from the lefty in tight. Ball 2. We're evened up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And this one sent down the third baseline foul. So this batter, Bortnick, really battling well against this man on the mound. Casey Robinson technically entering into today with 1 win and 2 losses. He technically has gotten the loss in the Hudson game and the North Royalton game. Even though that North Royalton one really wasn't his fault. Could have given that one to anybody. This one fouled to the right side once again. So we'll do it again at 2 strikes. Casey Robinson out in at the plate, struggling to find himself any success in the batting perspective of things, but pitching, it's just been a lot better. This one's sent into center field, will take an and he'll make the grab. Into the sun he looks, but won't exactly throw him off his game. There's out number 2
Now batting the second baseman
in the bottom of inning
Nelson.
number 2. Nelson steps into the right-handed batter's box, a smaller build than the remainder of his team, really. And here's the first pitch to him, fouled back into the glove of Quentin Garnett. Or actually off the glove of Quentin Garnett, couldn't keep it in. 1 strike to Nelson, the second baseman here today. He's the 8th guy in the batting order. Behind him would be the catcher. And that one just missing. My goodness. A smaller strike zone than most. Luckily for the Red Raiders, Casey Robinson can find his accuracy if need be. Here's the next pitch, down low. Ball 2. Zero your score as we're 2 outs down in the bottom of the second. The next from the left-handed hitter. This one lined into right. That's going to get down in front of Andrew Fogarty. He'll pick it up as it rolls in front of him. So now 1 man on with 2 outs. Trying to get that 2-out rally started. And now it's going to be the catcher, Josh Wieland. And it's unfortunate for him that now he had to take off all his catcher's gear to hop into the batter's box. But that's exactly What's now going to happen? 0-0. We're scoreless. In the second, it's up to him to try and hit this man home. He's not in scoring position, but you never know. Feels like in a turf field, anything can happen. Shaker wasn't supposed to lose to North Royalton by 22, but it was that turf field. You never know what may happen. That one right down Main Street for a strike. Leaving us up 1-1 strike. Still 2 outs with Nelson taking the lead off of first. Berglund covering first in case of a pickoff attempt, but Casey Robinson not going to take it. There's strike 2. Good pitch location from number 5. I was talking to Coach a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about Casey Robinson. If he just gets more speed before he goes to college, that's a D1 pitcher right here. This one's lined into right center. Fogarty gets there. However, it will get down, and now we got runners at the corners for the top of the order. It's going to be the left fielder of the Cardinals, number 12.
Now batting, number 12, Max Van Himbergen.
Max Van Himbergen, with a long name, steps into the batter's box, but now we're going to get a mound visit to Casey Robinson. Stephen English decides to take it, so he's going to join with the remainder of the infield. Quentin Garnett joins as well. Van Himbergen's 0 for 1 so far. Looking to change that kind of narrative and bat 500 on the day. Go Shaker! Garnett steps back behind the dish. Van Himbergen met with his coach as well, but now he's back in. Casey Robinson, 40 pitches down. Not exactly a great pitch count early in the game, but here's the pitch right down the middle. Strike number 1. Shaker, on the other hand, not able to get much going at all on the offensive. 6 up, 6 down for them at the plate. And now they're trying to steal home, and that's just unfortunate. However, if they get him out, and they do, and the run will count, the umpire does exclaim. So Menor will take the lead 1-0. However, we do get the out over between first and second. O'Shea Howard tracked him down between first and second. The runner ended up collapsing to the turf. So 1-0 now your score through 2. Thank you very much for joining us. Menor so far with 4 hits. Shaker so far hitless. And it's up to the bottom of the order to get that going. Nemo Crosby, Andrew Fogarty, and O'Shea Howard will be due up when we come back here in Menor, Ohio. Nemo Crosby stands in. He's the lead off guy. He's in the 7th spot so far. Or here today, excuse me. First pitch to him, down low, ball 1. Crosby so far yet to get a hit on the season. Same with the next man up, Andrew Fogarty, and then we're going to be to the bottom of the lineup in the form of O'Shea Howard. Those are the three guys due up. This one's sent over to third base, foul, however, as it's over to the left side. Mentor's up 1-0 after their double steal attempt and then getting that run to come across just at the very end. It was a smart idea and it worked out for him. 1 ball, 1 strike to Nemo Crosby. Calling time, and it's granted to him. Crosby, 12 at-bats down, but as mentioned, he's 0 for 12. So here's the opportunity to change that. This one's sent over to the left side. Will it get out of play? Indeed it will. The third baseman, Bortnick, was trying to get under it. And, I mean, at one point he was under it. However, it ends up falling out of his reach. 1-0 your score. Menor leads. Here's a 1-2 count now to Nemo Crosby. The kick and the pitch. This one's sent over to the right side. That's going to get down foul and out of play. So far, through 6 batters, 3 of them have struck out. Shaker, in their many plate appearances, they have a 30% strikeout rate. Here's the pitch. Off the plate. Good hold from Nemo Crosby. 2 balls, 2 strikes. In that kind of position, you really want to swing as you're protecting with 2 strikes. However, some patience from the senior. Next kick in offering. Cut on and missed. He got him with a pitch just a bit inside. And there is strikeout number 4 for Square. And that'll bring up number 4 for Shaker Heights. Andrew Fogarty, also hitless so far in his 10 at-bats. O'Shea Howard would be the next man due up. The first pitch from Square in this at-bat, called strike. That was his 35th, and through 35 pitches, 23 are strikes. So he's really attacking the hitters, and he's doing so pretty well. Shaker's still yet to get a hit. And I think Fogarty tried to hold back, didn't work there. It ends up being fouled over to the left side. 2 strikes now to the senior up at the plate. One of those lefties in the lineup here today. Except I believe today the only lefty in the lineup. And that creates a lot of righty-righty matchups, which is pretty good for the pitcher. This time, Fogarty sends it in play, handled by the second baseman. The throw in time from Nelson to McCartney, and there's out 2. So now up is going to be O'Shea Howard. Head coach Stephen English decides to mention something to O'Shea Howard really quickly, and now he's back in position as third base coach. O'Shea Howard standing in. He's batting 188, which is unfortunately a lot better than a lot of the other batters in the lineup. That first one called strike 1. He's got 3 hits, 3 of which are singles. However, they have been well hit singles. Liners into the gaps that just couldn't make the distance just enough. This one's sent into center field. This one's crushed. But eventually, the left fielder is going to get there, making the play. And there's number 3. So 9 up, 9 down for the Red Raiders through 3 innings. Casey Robinson back up to the mound. He's limited Menor to only 1 run coming across. Let's see if he can keep this score where it is when we come back. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn. I'm here from Menor, Ohio. Casey Robinson back out to the mound. The first pitch, upstairs and away for ball one. So far, Menor has scored 4 hits on 1 run and no shaker defensive errors. Here's the next offering. Just off the plate, ball 2. Van Himbergen, the batter, who was the man to make that great grab in the outfield on O'Shea Howard's contact to conclude the top of the third. This one's fouled over to the right side. That's going to get out of play. Still have 2 balls on Vandenbergen, who's 0 for 1. Here's the pitch. Ooh, there we go. A late strike call from the ump. He was thinking about it at first, but then he'll make the motion with the pointer finger of his right hand. We're even up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. This one cut on and missed. Big strikeout for Casey Robinson. That'll be his 3rd. And so that will bring up Nick Square, the pitcher in today's game. He's 1 for 1 for the Cardinals. We'll see if he can replicate that kind of success. Casey Robinson with the kick and the offering. This one fouled over to the right side into that practice field area. 1-0 your score. Menor leads it with 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Nick Square, 1 for 1. Lines this one right to Will Berglund. Can't play it on the short hop. O'Shea Howard trying to get in and make the throw, but oh, that is unfortunate. More than likely would be scored as an error.
Now batting, number 13, Peyton Zupanzik.
And so Zupanzik would be the next man up. They will rule this one as an error. Zupanzik 1 for 1. Double play is in order here to end the inning. He was showing bunt at first, but the pitch was off the plate, so he holds back. 1 ball, no strikes. Casey Robinson with his 50th pitch, about to make its way to the plate now. Square takes his lead off of first, now extends it a little bit more as Casey Robinson checks him. Here's the 50th of the game for Casey Robinson, and a tough call. The umpire says this one's not going to reach the mark. Good pitches from Casey Robinson, just some of them aren't getting the desired calls, but he's got the right idea. Here's the next pitch. This one lined into center. Will Tagan ranging back and over to his left. He'll make the grab for out number 1. And Nick Square going to have to stick over at first. That's going to bring up the Youngstown commit of Zupanzik. Or excuse me, not Zupanzik, of McCartney. Zupanzik was the one that just flew out. McCartney 0 for 1. Struck out his first time up to the plate. And here's the pitch to him. Cut on and missed quite early on the pitch that time around. Out in the field here today, in the outfield, it's Nemo Crosby, Will Tagan, and Andrew Fogarty from left to right. Here's the pitch. Cut on and missed once again. From right to left, over at first, it's Will Berglund. At second, O'Shea Howard. At short, it's occupied by Brett Moore. And the third baseman today is Sam Luther. Quentin Garnett catching the balls and strikes from Casey Robinson, your pitcher in today's game. 54th from him is fouled over to the right side. They were looking for a steal from Nick Square as he took off. Tyler Zach, the pitcher, making his way out of the dugout, and he's going to go track down that baseball. Oh, to the count to McCartney. And now this one cut on and missed. And there's his second strikeout of the day. And that's Casey Robinson's 4th strikeout of his day. So Shaker's offense just needs to get going. So far, the box score shows 0 runs, 0 hits, but 1 error, and that's just not how you're going to want to continue this game moving forward. 9 up, 9 down for the Red Raiders. Due up now is going to be that top of the order once again in the form of Brett Moore, Quentin Garnett, and Will Tagan. We'll be right back to tell you all about it. My name is Vaughn Ullum here from Menor with the call. So we've been through the order once. 9 up, 9 down, 4 strikeouts.
Leading off for Shaker Heights, number 1.
Due up now is Brett Moore, Garnett, and Tagan. Those last two struck out their first times up. But now it's time for Brett Moore to really get something going for the Red Raiders. They're only down by 1, so one swing of the bat can make all the difference. And here we go. We're looking for a good start. This one's sent into center field. However, the routine catch is made by the center fielder. And there's out number 1, a quick one at that. Quentin Garnett, the catcher in today's game, is up. You'll either see him at third or behind the dish. Today it's behind the dish. Whenever he's at third, it's normally Braden White that comes in to be the catcher. However, Braden White out of the lineup here today. Here's the first offering to Quentin Garnett. Inside ball 1. 1-0 the count. Quentin Garnett, once again, he struck out his first time up. Will Tagan did as well. He's in the on-deck circle. Here's the kick and the pitch from square. This one's sent over to the shortstop. Can Quentin Garnett beat this one out? Here's the throw just in time for out number 2.
Now batting number 8, Will Tygen.
Will Tagan stands in to the right-handed batter's box. He's 0 for 1 with that strikeout. And you know, one swing of the bat from him, he can do anything. He can launch this one out of here. He can have a great triple. It's really fun to see this guy up at the plate. And there he was looking to tie this one up. Swung a bit early, however. Strike 1. Berglund stands in the on-deck circle, looking for his chance here in the top of the 4th. We'll see if he gets it. The 0-1 offering on its way. It's low and away for ball 1. Tagan entering into today's game, batting a solid 400. So he's double that Mendoza line. And here's the next pitch. This one line into left center, but the grab is made. Once again, they really are putting these shifts on exactly where they want to be out in the outfield. And that's why it's now 12 up, 12 down for the Red Raiders. And let's see what they can do to keep this score where it is at 1-0. Casey Robinson back up to the turf mound. We'll be right back to call how he does right here, right now. First pitch from the sophomore is grounded back to Casey Robinson. He'll do a 360 and throw this one on to Will Berglund for out number 1. Again, it's only a 1-run game. 1-0 is your score. Shaker yet to get the bats really going. They've had 12 men up. 12 men have been retired. Casey Robinson now with 57 pitches. Or excuse me, 56 pitches. That was his 57th right there. Fouled off over to the right side. Near those neighborhood homes over to the right side. If we just go all the way across the practice fields, again, a lovely practice area that they have right out here to the right of the first base line. You're also going to see, again, the Jerome T. Osborne Senior Stadium. You're going to see their own lacrosse and soccer field over to the left side of the field. And then the JV baseball squad is going to have their own as well. There's a swinging strike, so we've got 1 ball and 2 strikes on Pierce. Pierce 0 for 1 so far. He struck out his first time up. This one fouled over to the right side once more. Tyler Zach was already out tracking down the first foul. Now he's back to it, tracking this one down on the practice field. And now he's jogging his way back. We're going to do it again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This one fouled back once again. Casey Robinson with 61 pitches now. We'll see who the bullpen arm will be moving forward. But Casey Robinson still has some more in him. Here's the next one. Off the plate. There's ball 2. We're evened up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1-0 currently your score. Menor leads it at home. Tomorrow, Shaker will host the Cardinals back at their own field. This one, once again, fouled back into the netting. Picking this up is the man in the on-deck circle, number 9, Bortnick. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out after the foul. We do it again. This one fouled off once again. Great at-bat from Pierce, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And don't get me wrong, he's still very much able to strike out in this at-bat, but my goodness, he's making it difficult on Robinson. The sophomore with the right leg kick and the pitch down low, tried to get him to chase, but it won't go. We're up to a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. Menor with 4 hits looking for their 5th, but once again it's fouled back into the netting. My goodness, Pierce is having an at-bat. Running up Casey Robinson's pitch count. And that's just not something you're going to want to see, especially with this being his 67th. But he gets it out. Good strikeout once again from Casey Robinson. That's going to be his 5th of the game. And now Braden Bortnick will stand in. Bortnick, the third baseman here today. He's had a couple plays over on that left side of the field, and now he'll stand in as the right-handed hitter. The first offering from the lefty is sent up into foul ground. Is it playable? I believe so. However, just not able to get there in time. So there's strike 1. Two outs now. Looking for the rally is the third baseman, number 9. We'll see if Casey Robinson pitches another as well. He more than likely will, especially if this results in a quick out. However, this one lined into right over to Fogarty, and it'll get down for a 2-out single. So now you got Bortnick to think about over at first. Number 1, Andrew Nelson, the second baseman in today's game, is going to be up. Bortnick taking the lead off of first. Men are looking for some more insurance. In baseball, you always want to have more insurance. This one hit right to O'Shea Howard over on second base, and so it was an easy scoop and tag over at second for out number 3. So we are going to take a minute. Shaker Heights really doing quite well on the defensive. Casey Robinson, for the moment, has pitched 70. He's thrown 51 strikes, so he's really attacking these hitters well, and that's allowed for only 1 run to come across on a bit of a trick play from the Menor Cardinals, more than likely designed by these Menor coaches. But Menor getting set to come back up for the top of the 5th out on defense. They haven't made a defensive error in their past 5 games. No different here. Shaker, however, limiting their defensive errors as well. Only 1 for them. However, their offense just needs to get going. 12 up, 12 down for them. They've struck out 4 times, and as a team that has struck out in 30% of their plate appearances, it's not getting better currently right now. So due up, it's going to be Will Berglund, the power hitter. We know he can change this narrative with 1 swing of the bat. Let's see what he's got in him. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum here with the call. We're down 4 innings. We've got 3 more to go here from Menor, Ohio. So Berglund, a power guy, up to the plate. He's 0 for 1, along with along with 5 other members of the team. The other 3 not mentioned are 0 for 2. CJ Landrum due up as well. Behind him would be Sam Luther. Berglund looking for the gap between third and short. However, this one's handled. The throw on to first. There's out number 1.
Now batting number 25,
CJ Landrum now digs in. No, Shaker's offense really hasn't gotten it going just yet. This game is very much within reach, and that's just because Casey Robinson has allowed Shaker's offense to still be in this position. It's really a gift that Robinson has given them. But Shaker just really needs to make do with what they have. First pitch to CJ Landrum. Calling the inside strike. Sam Luther due up next. Landrum entering into today batting .267. He's got 4 singles, only 4 hits. There, he went around. There's another strike to Landrum. Landrum's brother actually homered in that JV game against North Royalton. That JV game took place right after the varsity game. Of course, Varsity losing 28-6. It wasn't exactly a lovely affair for the varsity squad. However, Shaker in JV, they only lost by 3. 6-3 was your final in that one. 2 strikes, 1 ball to CJ Landrum. Now he's going to go time. Next pitch, this one lined over to the shortstop, played on one hop, and the throw on the first once again in time for out number 2. 14 up, 14 down. Number 11, Sam Luther, is going to be the next man up, looking for the team's first hit. First base runner. Still no walks for this Red Raiders squad. No one's been hit by a pitch, no reaching on an error. And so Sam Luther with the opportunity to really get this moving for the Red Raider offense. That time it'll catch the lower inside corner. Strike number 1. 2 outs. Nemo Crosby in the on-deck circle. We'll see if he gets the opportunity to enter in. Here in the top of the 5th. This one's sent over to the first baseman. The pitcher going to cover the flip to him. He'll step on first. 15 up, 15 down for the Red Raiders. Still looking for their first base runner. Casey Robinson really gifting them with this position of only a 1-run deficit. He'll return to the mound now. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum. Let's see if Casey Robinson can keep this a 1-0 game. Josh Whelan, the first man due up here for the Menor Cardinals in the bottom of the 5th. And what was that? He pitched that one. It like flew. What was that? That was just an interesting experience for Casey Robinson. It flew out of his hand, fell down to the turf right in front of him. Brett Moore plays it on the run. He's out. What a play from Brett Moore. Grounded his way. The throw on the run forward. And there's out number 1. Well-deserved play from Brett Moore. And now Van Hembergen is the man up. He's the leadoff man here today for the Cardinals in the number 1 spot. He's the left fielder on defense. First pitch to him, sent over to O'Shea Howard at second. Handled, throw, in time, out 2. 2 quick outs now. And if Casey Robinson keeps the pitch count just around where it is and under 80, he should be able to pitch that 6th inning and maybe even go the complete game. It would just be a little odd for a complete game pitcher to actually be the losing pitcher, and if Shaker's offense can't keep it or can't get into a groove, that very well could be the case. But there is a 2-out single from Nick Square. He's 2 for 3 now on the day, and that's going to bring up the number 3 guy, number 13, Peyton Zupanzik, the shortstop in today's affair. Zupanzik 1 for 2. He got a hit right after Nick Square did in the bottom of the first. Taking the lead off of first is Square. Good pitch from Casey Robinson. He'll catch the strike zone for strike number 1. Casey Robinson now with 75 pitches. The 76th will make its way to Zupanzik right now. And here's the throw upstairs. The throw on the second, and the steal is good from Nick Square. The throw just very much upstairs over the head of O'Shea Howard. Luckily, Brett Moore was behind him to keep that one from flying into shallow center. And so Nick Square remains at second, or I suppose he advanced, and now he stays put. This one lined over to left. Nemo Crosby plays it, makes the throw on to Quentin Garnett. It's just going to be in front of him. There's run number 2 coming across. The throw on target just a bit too slow, it seemed. Felt like that throw was coming in slow motion, but yeah, there you go. There's out. There's run number 2, which is quite unfortunate considering there was 2 outs, nobody on, but now 2 back-to-back hits. Now bring us to where we are. So now McCartney is the man due up. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. First pitch from Robinson. In this at-bat, this one's sent over to right field. It's going to get down. That's going to bring run number 3 across. Playing this one is Will Tagan, throwing it in with one heck of a throw. A strong throw it is. Making sure McCartney doesn't make his way past second. And there's run number 3 for the Cardinals. McCartney, just a big guy. And you know he has the power behind him. And there it's on display. Sandrowski 0 for 2 here today. He's struck out 0 times, actually. Now we're going to get time called. The Manor Cardinals third base coach talking things over with the umpire. And it looks like they're going to go with a pinch runner over at second. McCartney, once again, a big man. Doesn't have a lot of speed on him, you can assume. So Davis is going to be the pinch runner over at second. Casey Robinson still in the ball game after giving up 2. He's pitched now 78 with the 79th. Going to be the first one that Sandrowski sees up at the plate. That one just off the plate, ball 1. The good thing about Casey Robinson is if he throws 1 ball, maybe even 2, he doesn't, after that, just fall down and give up. After a 2-ball count earlier, boom, the next thing's a strike. There, Will Berglund playing it. Thought that one would end up out of play, but Will Berglund making the grab just along the fence of the dugout. And so now 3-0 is your score after 2 came across in the bottom of the 5th. Thank you very much for tuning in. Shaker now really needing to get their hitting up. They're still hitless. They're still base runnerless as we enter into the final 2 innings. Thank you very much for joining here from Menor, Ohio. We'll be right back with the call of the final 2. Leading off for the Raiders, it's going to be Nemo Crosby, number 13, also due up. The last three guys of the lineup, Andrew Fogarty and O'Shea Howard. Shaker have had 15 men up to the plate. 15 have been retired. No base runners, no reaching on an error. Again, Menor has not had an error in over now 5 ball games. They only had 3 errors in their first 2 games. And this is part of the reason why Menor's 7-0. That pitch off the plate, ball 1, 1-1 the count. I'm just getting set here in the top of the 6th, nobody out. And if you're the Red Raiders, you really don't want this game to set the tone for when you come back home and host these Cardinals. There's a big swing and miss from Crosby. 1 ball, 2 strikes now. Nathan Square now pitching 55. His 56th will be the next one to Crosby. Righty on righty matchup, and this one's sent over to the left side, playing it on the knees as Bortnick. The throw across the diamond. It's in time, good on time and on target throw from Bortnick to make out number 1 happen. And Drew Fogarty, the next man up. Fogarty put it in play last time. However, it resulted in a ground out. We'll see what happens this time around. Here's the throw inside. Ball 1. He wanted to scoot out of the way of that one. He backed up more in the batter's box. Underway over to the left side in that lacrosse field. We're actually getting the men's team start to practice. We saw the women's team practicing beforehand. Not exactly sure it was an official one or just some of those Cardinal lacrosse players wanted to get some practice in. They weren't dressed up in those uniforms there. Fogarty blasts one into center. However, doesn't have the distance just enough, as it's going to be that center fielder, Sandrowski, making the play. So O'Shea Howard is now up 17 down for the Red Raiders. Close to pitching a perfect game is Nick Square. And now O'Shea Howard digs in. Again, it's a reachable game. 3-0 is your score. And that one just down low for ball 1. Good pitch to Howard. Again, Howard enters into today batting 188 with 3 hits, each being singles in the 16 at-bats he's had. That time, just missed. I suppose he thought that one was just a bit up high. However, that would make it a rather short strike zone. But now 2 balls, no strikes to Howard. This time it's upstairs 100%. And so Nick Square is 1 more ball away from giving up a perfect game. Only 4 outs away from it. Let's see. 3-0 the count. This one lined into center. Will it get down? It won't. He was 1 ball away from giving the Red Raiders their first base runner. And so Nick Square's perfect game does continue. He's 3 outs away from keeping it all the way through 7 innings. And now it's going to be Fogarty getting the appearance in relief. We'll tell you about him after his warm-up pitches on the mound. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum. We'll be right back with the call of the bottom of the 6th. Andrew Fogarty, now the relief pitcher
Number 23, Ben Pierce.
for the Red Raiders. Ben Pierce going to be the first batter that Fogarty sees up at the plate. Fogarty, another right-handed pitcher. However, that contrasts with what we see from Casey Robinson. Fogarty, in the sake of pitching, currently enters in with a 7 ERA straight. This one popped up in foul ground. That's going to hit the roof of the dugout out of play. So far, Fogarty has actually walked more than he's struck out. 8 walks through his 8 innings pitched. 8 walks, 6 strikeouts. So he's actually averaging 1 walk per inning. Hopefully that changes with this here. Here's the next pitch down low. A ball. 2 balls, 1 strike. Now this next pitch cut on, sent over to O'Shea Howard at second. It's just a lazy roller over to him, and he'll make the throw on to Berglund. There's out 1 of the bottom of the 6th. Shaker Heights on the defensive, actually having one of their best games in the sake of errors, only 1 currently on the defensive, but again, Menor really hasn't had any errors of their own. Here today, over last game, and then the 4 games before that. This pitch in there, strike 1. And since Shaker's offense hasn't been able to get going, here in the bottom of the 6th, it's a 3-0 game with 0 hits, 0 walks, 0 base runners for the Red Raiders. Here O'Shea Howard gets under it. There's out number 2 created by number 2. And so, 1 more out till we reach the final inning of the game.
Andrew Nelson.
Nelson's going to be the next batter. He's 1 for 2 in today's game. And he also came across to score. This is going to be a liner into center. It'll get down in front of Tegan. Tegan scoops this one up and throws it back in. It'll be held to a single.
Now batting number 7, Josh Whelan.
Whelan's going to be the next batter. He's the catcher in today's game, also the 9th man in the batting order. Of course, that would make him the last man in the batting order. Here's the first pitch down low, ball 1. The interesting thing to note about each of these lineups is that Shaker has actually struck out 1 less time than the Menor batting order, which is surprising considering one side has had 9 hits, the other one hasn't had any. No base runners. In fact, Nick Square is so close to a perfect game on the other side, but he's just waiting in the dugout now, probably anxiously to get back out there and finish this one off. There's the pickoff attempt over at first. Nelson back in head first with a dive. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fogarty's 10th will be on its way in the form of the 3rd that Whelan sees. Here's another pickoff attempt. Back in safely is Nelson. Now Fogarty back in, taking the pitch, and this one is once again lined into center. That same exact hit location. Just making its way past the shoulder of Fogarty between O'Shea Howard and Brett Moore, and Will Tegan's the man to play it. So, there were 2 quick outs. Now there's 2 men on with 2 outs. And Van Himbergen, who's 0 for 3, the leadoff man in today's game, is back up. He's struck out once in his 3 at-bats. And the first pitch down low and away, ball 1, 2 outs. Fogarty has now pitched 11. Whelan taking his lead from first, Nelson following suit from second. And he's just jumping left and right out there. And Fogarty didn't like it. So he made a motion over to second. Nelson's back in safely without the throw. Nelson takes an extension of that lead as Fogarty's pitch is in there for strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs. Here we are in the bottom of the 6th in a 3-0 game. Menor leads here at home. That pitch low and away. Ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. And now here's the next one. Sent right back up the middle. Played by O'Shea Howard. Is he going to get there first? He will, just barely leading on second base. He touched it with his mitt as he held the baseball in his opposite hand. He'll get out number 3. And now here it'll be an interesting final 3 outs for Nick Square, assuming he comes back out to the mound. He is 3 outs away from a perfect game. And it looks like he will be back out here. Number 3, Nick Square, has pitched 62, only 20 not being strikes. And so we'll see what Nick Square can do for the final 3 outs for the perfect game. We'll be right back. Thank you very much for tuning in here from Menor, Ohio. Shaker needs to get their offense going. They're down by 3 in a 3-0 score. Though baseball games are only 7 innings in high school, it's still a very rare thing to see a perfect game in high school, especially when the pitchers are high schoolers. They make mistakes. They're not up to that professional level just yet. But here's Nick Square, number 3, on the mound, and let's see. He's 3 outs away from that perfect game. He has not allowed a single base runner. And now here comes Brett Moore trying to ruin this title. And now time is called by the catcher. Brett Moore 0 for 1. He hasn't struck out. Only actually 4 strikeouts for the Red Raiders compared to Menor's 5 strikeouts. Here's the pitch. Brett Moore swinging out front on that one. It was also very low and away. Goal here is to just be patient. You know Nick Square is more than likely going to attack you, especially in this kind of position. Here's the pitch. This one's sent over too short. It's handled by Zupancic, and it's on for out number 1. 2 outs away from a perfect game. With Square 2 outs away from the perfect game, it's going to bring up Quentin Garnett. Tagan is going to be due up as well, and Tagan's not the kind of kid you want to face when you are this close to pitching a high school perfect game. 64 pitches from Square so far. And here's the 65th, fouled back into the backstop. Will Tagan going to exit out of the on-deck circle to pick it up and bring it back over to that Red Raider dugout side. He'll be giving it to the umpire momentarily. Quentin Garnett 0 for 2 here today. Struck out once, and I believe that was in his first at-bat. That one in there for strike 2. 0-2 the count to Quentin Garnett. Now the next pitch, this one's sent up the middle, And that ruins the perfect game. 2 outs away from it. And there you go. Quentin Garnett with a single up the middle. Just 2 outs away. And there you go. Garnett, the first base runner in this one for Shaker Heights. And now Tegan is up.
Number 8, Will Tajan.
And Tegan, with one swing of the bat, could honestly make this a 1-run game. We saw in that game against North Royalton the 3-run shot in the left field. We'll see if he has it in him once again. If not, Berglund's right behind him. We know Berglund has that kind of ability as well. Pretty good opportunity for Shaker's offense to get something going now with this part of the order. That one should be ruled a strike, and indeed it is. Will Tegan 0 for 2. He struck out in his first time up. Now here's the kick and the pitch. That one also finds its way in. A bit more of a lobbed pitch in there to make its way right down the middle, but there's strike 2. Nonetheless. No balls, 2 strikes to Will Tegan. Garnett takes the lead off of first, but he's also being rather conservative. And there's called strike 3 on Tegan. Tegan's not happy about it, smiling yet shaking his head as he returns back to the dugout, wording to himself, all right, okay. He's not happy with that. There's now 1 out away from the shutout is Nick Square. Berglund now digs in to the right-handed batter's box. That first pitch off the plate, ball 1, is also rather low. Up next would be CJ Landrum, who they would need to reach home plate at this point in time. This one fouled back over the press box and into the practice field's foul. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Berglund. Berglund also 0 for 2. Everyone in this lineup is 0 for something except now for Quentin Garnett. Just off the plate. There's ball 2. Nick Square with 73 pitches. The 74th will be the next one to Berglund. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. He's 1 out away from making it a shutout, and there's strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out with 1 man on in the form of Garnett, the 1 Red Raider base runner here today on the road. Here's the next kick and pitch, cut on and missed. There's the strikeout, and Nick Square is amped up about that one. That was the 5th one for him, or excuse me, the 6th one for him, and so now they will move on back home to take on these Menor Cardinals. And so it was a great game for one side. Now is the Menor Cardinals. Nick Square 2 outs away from a perfect game. Quentin Garnett says no thank you. Lines one right between the shortstop and second baseman. And so Nick Square probably a little upset about that one. But regardless, he still did get a well-earned shutout. Only 1 hit for Shaker Heights, and that's going to be the talking point moving forward into tomorrow. The bats are still really struggling for Shaker. In that game against North Royalton, it was the matter of how it was the defensive errors, and it was the fact that, again, the wind was a factor. It just wasn't a pretty output out on the field. But here today, it was the batting. Everyone was 0 for something except for Quentin Garnett, who, once again, he ruined that perfect game for Nick Square. He's probably not too happy about that final inning, but again, satisfied with the shutout. 3-0 is your final here. Shaker will move forward to take on this GCC opponent once again at home. Menor will be back. I believe it's a 5 p.m. first pitch. That's what we're set for. We'll see if that actually stands. Might be at 4:30. we'll see. There was some confusion before first pitch today. Shaker thought that this one was going to start at 4:30, actually started half an hour later. But for now, Shaker loses another one. They fall to 3-7, and now it's going to be their job tomorrow to get that fourth win of the season. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum here with the call from Menor. We will see you back home tomorrow in Shaker Heights territory. Thank you for watching.